Welcome to a special meeting of the Bennington Select Board for a public hearing on February 1st, 2021. We are going to start the meeting. A number of our members are just getting back from the candlelight vigil down street. And so we are expecting 2 more members to join us shortly, but Bruce and Jean just got back. And so we now have a quorum to open this meeting. So we'll open this meeting, and before I introduce board members, I think I'm going to go through the process of letting people know how to call in and reading this one statement, which we have been advised to read before meetings. So this meeting, due to COVID-19 pandemic state of emergency declared by Governor Scott and pursuant to Addendum 6, Executive Order 1-20 Act 92, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. There is no physical location to attend this meeting. However, the public may view it on CAT TV's Facebook Live and call in at 1-646-558-8656, entering the meeting ID number 822-2004-1692. Again, that number is 822-2004-1692. So that is the call-in information for joining this meeting. Now, because this meeting is being hosted on Facebook Live, but is not being run on CAT TV's government channel, that's being taken by the Pownell Select Board tonight. We are going to do this slightly differently than we normally do it, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But before we do, if I haven't already introduced myself, I can't remember, I'm Donald Campbell, I'm the chair of this board, and it looks like we still have maybe Sarah to join us, but why don't we go ahead, here she is, right on cue. Thank you, board members. I know you had to race back from the vigil to get to your computers in time for this meeting, and I'm sure it was tough in the snow. I really appreciate what you did and appreciate you showing up for the grieving family. Why don't we introduce ourselves, board members, starting with you, please. Bruce, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. This is Bruce Lee Clark.
Hi, I'm Jean Connor.
Hello, I'm Jeannie Jenkins.
Good evening, this is Jim Carroll.
Good evening, Sarah Perrin.
And also with us tonight, we have our town manager, Stuart Hurd. We have our assistant town manager, Daniel Monks. We have Mike Cutler, the man, the myth, the legend from CAT TV. Nancy Lively taking minutes. And we have, we will be entering people into the meeting. So what I'm going to do at this point is just give you a brief process point. We are, because this is on Facebook Live and the government channel is unavailable tonight because Pownell Select Board is on it, I'm going to allow callers to come into the meeting and to stay in the meeting. And the callers can listen, they can choose to either not listen, or they can choose to listen to the meeting through the telephone if that's more convenient. So that way they won't have to call back in. This was a request by one of the callers that's on now. So what we'll do is we'll follow the following process. I'll give the sponsors of this Article 3, mayoral form of government. I guess technically it's Article 3, 103-407, mayoral form of government. And Jeannie, I don't know if you have that in front of you. I did email it to you, hoping you would be willing to read it in just a minute. If that's not too much, I'm sorry I gave you no notice, and if you'd like, I can read it. I can put it up on the screen as well, but it won't be for a minute or two. Let me describe the process here. The sponsors will have up to 10 minutes to between them to talk about why they've brought this forward, why they've gotten the signatures, and then we will ask them to mute themselves. And we will give any other callers that call in 5 minutes or so to offer their comments. During that time, the assistant town manager will be keeping notes for questions regarding legal clarifications that we need. So we will be seeking any questions on legal clarification. We'll be seeking answers from our town attorney and bringing those back to the meeting on February 8th. So this is the first hearing, and there'll be a second hearing on February 8th. At that meeting, we'll bring back the definitive legal answers, if any are needed, from town council. After everybody has had a chance to have a first chance to speak, I will offer any that still would like to speak again, another 3-minute slot to 3 to 5 minute slot to give their final thoughts. After that, the board will have a chance to speak, no obligation whatsoever. This is, we are not in a decision-making role here. We are just facilitating this public hearing. But you will have board members, you will have a chance to speak at the end. And I would ask you as much as possible to try to hold your comments to the end. So Bruce, I see you have your hand up. I'm not quite finished. Can I go ahead? If you have a question for clarification, go ahead.
It just happens to be that one of the sponsors doesn't have Facebook, so if you could just post the number and the connection again,
Sure.
that would be really helpful while you're talking. That'd be great.
Yep. Okay, so to be clear, the dial-in number is 646-558-8656, and the meeting ID is 822-2004-1692. So I will say it's not our usual practice to have callers in the meeting. As we know from watching some other neighboring towns, it can be very disruptive. So I'm going to ask any callers left in the meeting to be on their best behavior, and to me that means no interruptions at all. No unmuting yourself, or else we'll place those callers in the waiting room. No foul language, of course, no personal attacks. And all discussion really has to pertain directly to Article 3, to this article that we're here tonight to discuss. So again, board members, I'm just going to ask you as much as possible to hold your comments. This is really the general public's time to speak. And so I will ask you to hold your comments as much as possible. This is not a debate. This is not a Q&A period. This is the time for the public to offer their opinions. And if there are questions, legal questions, for us to figure out what those are and get definitive answers from our counsel so that we can report back. Okay, Bruce, I see you're on the phone with him. Looks like you're off the phone now. 646-558-8656, 822-2004-1692. I'll put this down. And Nancy White, you are in the meeting with us. Would you like to be the first person to speak on behalf of this? Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Nancy. Before you do that, Jeannie, would you be willing to read Article 3 so that people can have a chance to see what it is? I'm going to put it up on the screen at the same time, so
Okay.
there'll be two ways to see it or hear it.
All right, perfect. So Article 3, Section 103-407, mayoral form of government. A, in lieu of a town manager, the voters may adopt a mayoral form of government by vote at a duly warned annual meeting, warned pursuant to a petition signed by 5% of the voters or on the select board's own motion. Once a vote in favor of this form of government is successful, the voters shall elect a mayor at the next annual meeting for a 3-year term. Once the mayor takes office, the town manager's system of government shall end for Bennington. B, the mayor shall be responsible for the management of the administrative affairs of the town in the same manner and with the same powers and responsibilities as the town manager, as stated in statute and this charter. C, the mayor shall have the power to veto any action of the select board. D, the select board shall have the authority to override the mayor's veto by a vote of 5 members of the board taken at a regular meeting. Within 30 days of the vote to override, voters may petition for a binding referendum on the issue by a petition signed by 5% of the voters. At a special meeting held within 60 days of the receipt of the petition, the voters shall decide whether to uphold the mayor's veto. E, the compensation for the mayor shall be set by the select board based on comparable salaries and benefits for a town manager. F, the mayor shall serve as the voice of the town of Bennington, taking responsibility for implementing the policies of the select board, leading the town toward greater prosperity and a healthy economy and a better life for all residents.
Okay, thank you very much, Jeannie.
Mhm.
Thanks for reading that, sparing my voice. Nancy White, you are in the meeting with us. Mike Bethel is not in the meeting yet, but I think he's probably preparing to call in. Are you prepared to lead off, Nancy? I'm going to see if this ask to unmute button does anything.
Hello, Don.
Good evening, Nancy. We've got you now. Are you have you been able to follow along so far? Or have you been able to
I
hear
have.
everything?
I just have a question first.
Sure.
Was this supposed to be warned on the town website?
It was. I sent you the link. It was on the notices front, the home page under notices. I emailed you the link shortly after you emailed me that question.
Okay, you know what? You know that it isn't on the town website today.
No, it is. I sent you the link to it. I checked it myself as soon as I got your email.
Okay, well, it is.
Homepage
Okay.
notices, February 1st. It's right there.
And I'll say it's disappointing that we had the petition approved back in November so that we could have started discussions in December. I thought that the meeting would have been on CAT TV tonight.
Okay, well, yeah, I understand that disappointment. We will be on CAT TV. Of course, this will be recorded. It will be available on CAT TV. It's on Facebook Live right now as we speak. And we also will be on CAT TV next week. So I understand your concerns on that, though. Nevertheless,
Okay.
Would you be willing to lead off speaking on behalf of this Article 3 until Mike Bethel is able to call in?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, please.
The reason that 3 years ago and this year, I went out personally, we got a couple hundred signatures for mayor, is that the citizens of this town no longer have a voice. We have waited for our issues to be addressed. They aren't getting addressed. We have waited for Bennington to become affordable again. It is not affordable. We are a town that has lived beyond its means for years. I think the biggest concern I've watched over the past decade are the number of deals being made without the public, without the citizens knowing anything about them. I'm sure that the majority of the people in Bennington have no clue what the 4 priorities of our town have been since 2012. And many citizens have just had enough. They want results. They want somebody who will make them feel included. And I guess the 3 questions voters need to ask themselves is, do they feel that the town manager values our questions and concerns? Do they feel the issues in our town have been addressed over the past decade? And do they feel that Bennington is more affordable today than we were a decade ago? And if people can't answer yes to those questions, I think people need to vote to move forward. All voting for a mayor does will get it into the charter. It won't change anything about how our town government operates, but it will make people understand that we want to be included. We want the backroom deals to end. And that's pretty much all I have to say at this point.
Nancy, thank you. While you were speaking, Mike Bethel joined, and I entered him into the conversation. Mike, if you can press *6, you will be unmuted. Welcome to this meeting. But I will. There you go. Great. Good evening. So, Mike, I'm not sure if you were able to apologize for the fact that this was difficult to log in. Thank you, Bruce, for helping Mr. Bethel get in. I'm not sure, Mike, if you heard me sort of in the lead up to how we're going to do this, but we'll definitely want to give you and Nancy a chance to kick off and talk about why Article 3 is important, why you went to the effort to put it before the voters. And then we will enter any other callers that come into the meeting. In the meantime, I'll ask you and everybody else to remain muted. And then once everybody who wants to has had a first chance to speak, we will offer a second chance to speak to anyone who's still in the meeting. And then I'll let the board members make brief comments if they want to at that point. I also mentioned, Mike, that we have assistant town manager keeping notes. Any legal questions that come up, we will be taking them for legal clarification to town council and bringing back the results of that on February 8th when we have our second public hearing on this. So that's the little catch up. And Nancy White has given a little bit of an overview on why she thinks this is important. And Mike, go ahead. If you're ready to speak, I'd love to have you give your co-speaker.
All right. I'm disappointed in this whole format. This really isn't fair to us or to the public. But I thought this was going to be on regular cat TV where people could have seen it. Some people have an iPad or a computer and can get it, and some people don't. So, but anyway, the basic message is we're not doing what we need to do as a town, in my opinion. A lot of other opinions. I want to bestow on the people, let them know very clearly. This is the first step. I would love everybody to vote yes on it, get us over the hurdle so we can open the charter, so we can have a mayor. When we vote, if this passes, it does not mean we automatically have a mayor the next day. There has to be other votes, other steps, and everything else. This just puts it in our charter to make it legal that the town of Bennington can have a mayor form of government. The legislature will have to get into it. They will, obviously, like they do every other charter change, look at it and make sure it's correct by Vermont law, but they will 99% of the time pass it if the voters want a charter change. There's nothing to be afraid of here. Some people will try to tell you it's fear and everything, that this is working great for us. I argue that it isn't working great for us anymore. And this is nothing personal against Stu Hurd or anybody at the town hall or on the select board. It's just time to get the people involved in our community. And by having a mayor, somebody that they choose for the leader, they'll be more involved. They'll make sure that he or she does the job that they say they're going to do when they get elected. It's only going to be a 3-year term, the way this is written up. It is a strong mayor, but it's not an overbearing mayor. It's equal to a select board. The select board will have the same power as the mayor. Each one would be able to veto an idea that they feel is bad. The select board can veto a mayor idea if he's wanted to go out and spend $500 million on some stupid project, and vice versa. It's the same type as in Rutland and other towns. I talked to the mayor of Rutland, one of the ex-mayors of Rutland, and he said that he said he can only remember it coming up once, that they both vetoed each other. And it went to the people, and the people decided. So that's basically the upside of it. I don't see any negative side of it now. Somebody else on your panel may say it. But I'd like to take some calls. And can we answer the calls, or are you going to wait till us answering them at the end?
No, the way we're going to do this is we will allow anyone to speak, equal access. So anyone that wants to call in will have a period of time to speak. And then when we get to the end, if you would like a second chance to speak, you're welcome to, and you can address any concerns that come up at that point. So but I'm willing to leave you in the meeting, Mike, and Nancy in the meeting, which is not what we normally do because this is not on Cat TV channel. And I do apologize for that. I don't think we knew that that was the case. Pownell is broadcasting their select board on the government channel tonight, so that's why this is on Facebook Live.
No, what's on your channel tonight is a replay from January 14th of some state thing, so they could have put it on.
Well,
But anyway, you're going to be on next Monday live under your own select board, correct?
this will be the second hearing will also be at our regularly scheduled meeting on February 8th, and we will take it up in the same manner then, yeah.
At what time are you going to have that? At the beginning or after you do your business, or?
We haven't set the agenda yet. Have we set the agenda? Jeannie, we're doing that tomorrow morning. I think it's it's pretty early. What is it, Stuart? Early in the, I saw that.
It right now is scheduled to follow the public comment period.
Okay, so about 6:10, Mike, on that.
All right, how much time are you going to devote to it?
I don't know. It depends. I think we'll give it the time it takes, probably, half an hour, something like that, if it takes that long.
Okay. Let's take the question.
So I am going to remind you, Mike and Nancy, to please mute yourselves, or actually I can mute you, I think, but I've asked you to not unmute yourselves. So I'm going to ask you to stay muted, and I'm going to enter caller ending 840, Mr. Restino. You are in the Bennington Select Board meeting, and we are glad to have you here. We are, as you know, on Cat TV's Facebook Live, but not on Cat TV's channel tonight. And so we're leaving callers in the meeting who want to stay in the meeting if you feel like it's easier for you to stay in. The only thing is, if you've got it running in the background, which it sounds like you do, I'd ask you to turn the volume down on whatever it is that you're listening to, because it makes kind of a creepy feedback loop.
Yeah, no, I have nothing running. Good evening, Chairman Campbell. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Thank you very much for calling in. Go ahead with your concerns.
Yes, I'll be brief.
No, you don't have to be brief, but your thoughts, not concerns.
Yes, let me get this straight, or hearing this straight. Already went up to the Vermont legislator. It got failed by the Vermont legislator. How can it be proposed again up to the Vermont legislators to be judged whether they accept it or not? Secondly, as you know, the past history has been voted down by the voters in the past, and it's being proposed again. Thirdly, if I hear correctly, we're still going to have select board members, but instead of having town administration, we're going to be having a mayor. Am I correct on my statements?
No, not quite. It's more complicated than that. There would be a mayor, and there would also be a select board. The select board would have veto power over the mayor, but the mayor would also have veto power over the select board. So there'd be, the way Mr. Bethel described it, is there would be kind of a mutual ability to override. So yeah, not quite the way you described.
Right, but I mean, we're still going to have a select board member. It's not just going to be a mayor and town council. It's going to be still select board members that have to be elected, correct?
That's the proposal, yes.
Yes.
Donald.
Okay, so instead of having a town administrator, we're going to be having a town mayor.
That's right.
Donald, sorry to interrupt, but
Jim, yeah.
Sam is in error. Even if this were to pass, it would have to go to the state legislator, because it would be a charter change, and it would go through government ops, and then it would have to be approved there before the official change takes place.
And
Yes,
Jim,
that's what I
just to
said.
add-
That's what I.
Jim,
That's,
no, just
that's
Jim,
what I
to add
stated.
to
It goes,
that,
So board members, this is going to be chaotic. It's difficult with Zoom. I am going to ask you to please raise your hands, and I will look for hands. Sam, just hold on for a minute, please, if you would.
yes, I will.
It's Jeannie, go ahead.
Hi, I just wanted to add that Sam's statement that this had gone to the legislature before and it had been rejected by the legislature is not accurate. We have had several votes on a mayor form of government to amend the charter, and those have not passed. So this charter amendment has never gone to the legislature because it has not been passed at the town level.
Yeah, it is very confusing, and it's not at all. It's very understandable because it's completely confusing. But the charter directs the business of the town. There was a charter review, a year-long charter review a while ago. That charter review also looked at government structures. They did not recommend a mayoral form of government. So the charter change that went up to the legislature did get sent back, or did not get sent back. There were parts of it that they did not accept, but it did not go up as a mayoral proposal. But you are correct, Sam, that this is, I think, the 5th time that this proposal has come before the voters in Bennington, and it has not passed yet, so it has not been tested yet.
Yes, my apologies. I used the wrong word. I meant the charter. We made an application. It was a lengthy process. You've all been through it. The committee that tried to draft up a proposal for the change of the town charter, it got submitted to Vermont legislator, and the charter got failed. So, I mean, are we allowed to make another attempt at that? Is there a possibility that the charter is going to be failed again?
Well, we got many things in the charter change that we wanted. Most of the things that we wanted actually in the charter change. They had sort of a line item veto where they went through and they picked off certain things that they didn't like. For example, they did not like the idea that you could get rid of a select board member for non-attendance, that kind of thing. So
right.
There were things that were stripped out, but most of what the charter committee had recommended was adopted and is reflected in the updated charter, which is on the town website at this point.
Right. Okay. I mean, thank you for allowing me to view my concerns. I do agree. I wish this was, it's Cat TV is recording it, but I mean, if people want to view what's going on, they can search for it for themselves. Thank you for letting me voice my concern, and I'll open the phone line to anybody else that wants to voice their opinion.
Thanks for calling in, Sam. I'm going to mute you now.
Yes.
Yes. So we will be on Cat TV and Cat TV Facebook feed next Monday at about 6:10 for the second public hearing, and it's a good thing we have two. So, all right. I am going to put up the call-in information one more time here, which is, and while I do this, maybe while I have this up, 646-558-8656. I'll go to you in just a minute, Jim. The meeting ID is 822-2004-1692. Go ahead, Jim. Mr. Carroll?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for Nancy White. In her closing remarks, she made a remark that really was very concerning to me. And she said that she and the townspeople of Bennington were tired of backroom deals. And, you know, that, boy, when a remark like that is made, I hope that you can back that up with specific examples of backroom deals.
Jim, I'm going to ask you to hold that. Nancy's going to have another chance to speak at this point. It's actually going to happen probably momentarily. I do notice that Mike Bethel just dropped from the call, so I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. But we don't have any other callers calling in at this point. So my inclination is to offer Nancy another chance to speak if she'd like one. And if not, I'll go on to board comments. So Nancy, are you still with us? Let's see, 802-2025. Nancy White, if you'd like to speak again, you're welcome to unmute yourself. Here comes Mr. Bethel back into the meeting. You're welcome to unmute yourself, and please go ahead. There are no other callers at this point, so I'm going to consider this your second, your second opportunity to speak. We'll give Mr. Bethel a second opportunity to speak, and then I'll ask board members if they have anything to say. So go ahead, please, Nancy.
Sure, thank you. I just want to remind people, the town manager could retire tomorrow. Citizens would have no say who replaces him. It is only the select board that hires a town manager. Only the select board can fire a town manager. I think many citizens feel it's time that we had the right to elect who we wanted to lead our town. A mayor would do the same thing as the town manager would. He would have the money in the town office. He would set up the town office similar to how Stuart has, or however he or she would want to. He would want the best people in there. Many feel that that town office could be run more economically and that we would get more results, more bang for our buck. We want somebody to bring the focus back on Bennington. We're tired of hearing what Bennington has to do for the county. We are not responsible for the county. We are not responsible for the region. As far as Jim, if Jim wants to hear about backroom deals, I'll be happy to name just a few. The splash park. We were told it wasn't going to cost us anything, but we were going to pay for a bathroom. I believe on the town budget, I read it has cost us over $150,000. Am I correct? Hello?
Yeah, we hear you, but
Well, I mean, I asked a couple of weeks ago where the town budget is. It hasn't even been put back online. How can people vote on a budget if we can't even see what we're spending? Am I correct that the splash park has cost us over $150,000?
go ahead, Stuart.
It has, but that's not $150,000 of municipal money. Those monies, most of those monies were raised by donations. I can tell you that the bathroom did cost more than we originally anticipated. I think we had originally talked about a building that would cost about $6,500. But because of the extensive amount of plumbing that had to be done for the splash pad itself, I don't have the exact number, but we did go over budget a little bit, but it didn't cost us $150,000.
Okay, well, that's what I had seen in the budget, and that's why I wanted to come back up so I can look at it. There's the puzzle
Nancy,
block.
just to be clear, there are expense items and there are income items, and so just because something is an expense does not mean there's not an income item that comes in on the other side of that. So the income that came in for that splash pad came in from private donations.
Okay. But again, if we can't even see the town budget we're voting on, why would anybody vote in favor of it? It's our right to have a right to see the budget. Another concern that many in Bennington have had have been the Putnam block. I believe the town has made hundreds of thousands of dollars to the loans to the Putnam block. We, the citizens, should know what that money's being used for. Many people have questions about the Putnam block. The problem is that nobody can answer questions from citizens has appeared before a select board meeting to take our questions. I've raised many questions about the Y takeover and the rec center. I think we were hung out to dry 4 years ago. I believe there was a group that helped create the Y that brought them to Bennington. I think they withheld far too much information from the citizens. That should not be reclassified as a regional facility. No town has ever taken money from their budget and helped the people pay for the rec center. No town will do that in the future. I could go on about the senior center. Stuart, didn't somebody donate that to the town of Bennington decades ago to be used for our seniors?
Actually, no, Nancy, that was done with HUD monies. It was a green building that was behind the old stone building that's now owned by the Bank of Bennington, and it was relocated to that site with grant funds and purchased with grant monies. The building itself may have been donated, I don't remember, but it was falling down. So,
Nancy, I recognize that you're trying to, that Jim opened this Pandora's box. Thanks a lot, Jim. But listen, I really want to focus this on Article 3. So tie it into Article 3 or we're going to move on, please.
But Don, this ties exactly to why citizens want to get somebody to represent us. Nobody's listening to us, Don. For over 30 years, I have watched all these experts created. Our economy has to provide new private sector jobs with good pay and benefits. I'm not seeing those brought to Bennington. We can talk economic development all we want. This town will not turn around without jobs. but we never hear about the new jobs. People are concerned about the issues that have continued to grow. We pay many groups and organizations, both town, both county, both state. We have many groups in Bennington. Citizens are very concerned about issues, and we don't understand, if the same person has been in the town office for 30 years, why none of our issues are turning this town around. So I
Okay,
would.
there's a lot in there. I'm going to move on to Mike Bethel. If Mr. Bethel, would you like a chance to speak at this point?
Can you hear me now?
We can't hear you. Yes, go ahead, please.
Well, what you did to me, you shut me off for almost everything. I didn't hear what whoever was it Jim Carroll said something?
I didn't shut you out of anything, Mike.
No, when you did whatever happened, I got disconnected and
I did not disconnect you.
I just got back when Nancy was talking. I agree with 99 point whatever of what Nancy said. But to me, this isn't personal. This is just time for a change. If you look at the payroll that we've got at the town hall and you look at the job description of those people that work there, and all of them are very nice people. Not one of them, or tell me I'm wrong. Which one of them, the first thing in their job description is to bring business here and to lower taxes to make it so people can live here like they used to be able to? Is there one person that has that job distinction that we're paying somebody?
Yeah, there are several. There are lots.
Okay,
It's interesting. We just got through the manager's review, and one of the things that was said in that manager's review was that Stewart internally refers to the taxpayers as the town's customers, and he's always working to try to figure out ways that he can reduce property taxes in any way he can.
Well, who's the job recruiter here? Who's the one that brings in businesses here? Who's the one that gets up every morning and says, I'm going to work and I'm going to look for a new business that can come to Bennington to employ my people?
So that's a complicated answer, but we have done a lot of different things with economic development. As you know, the former structure for economic development that we had did not work very well for us, and so we've been working with other partners to do economic development. Jeannie could talk at length about that, but that's not the topic tonight. Tonight, the topic is Article 3, and if you'd like to talk about Article 3 and why you feel like
this is
important, then you
This is part of Article 3, because when jobs aren't getting recruited, when taxes are going up, and grand list is going down, this is why we want a different form of government. So you can't say this isn't part of the discussion. I'm not here because Stuart Hurd doesn't sell ice cream cones well. I'm here because our system, with Stu Hurd at the helm, who I like as an individual, it's not getting done. Stu Hurd has every right to comment anything he wants about what I'm saying. Anything, time in the paper or at a podium, he can run for mayor if it ever gets to that position. But it is time for a change because we're not going forward. We're going backwards. And what's really sad is if the 7 of you on that board or 6 of you on that board can't see it, that's a problem. And all we want the people to do is vote for this and say, yes, it opens the charter up to give us an opportunity in the future to have a mayor form of government. This does not make it a mayor form of government automatically. There has to be another vote, and another vote after that to get a mayor, and many discussions in between it. So we can close the meeting down, but I don't think this meeting was very fair. I don't think there's probably 5 people listening to it. But anyway,
okay.
We'll do better, I hope, next Monday night.
Okay, thank you for your comments.
You too.
So I'm going to mute you now, Mike, but you're welcome to stay in the meeting at this point if it's easier for you to listen over the phone as opposed to on the radio. Board members, I would like to give you an opportunity to speak if you'd like one. I guess I would also just offer the thought that we will be doing a second hearing next week, and it might be reasonable for us to hear all opinions before we offer our own. Having said that, I do open the floor to anybody that wants to speak on this issue tonight if they feel strongly that they really would like to. I'd ask for hands if you would like to try to say something tonight. Go ahead, Mr. Carroll.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As much as you wanted to admonish us not to debate, I just went and made a very quick cursory look at the Department of Labor's statistics about employment in the town of Bennington, and it had trended downward. That is to say, employment had gone up with the spike in Bennington that took place in March and April of this past year. And that happened all over the country. But from, let's see, the years of, hang on, let me look at it. From 2009, the trend was downward right through 2019 with a spike in about March of last year. So, you know, the idea that jobs have not been created or increased in the town of Bennington is not factually accurate.
Thank you for that opinion. I would say, you know, on our board we have Jeannie Jenkins, who's probably one of the most involved people I know in economic development and job recruitment and working with people. And I appreciate the fact, Jeannie, that you're keeping your powder dry for now, at least. But it must be very tempting for you to try to respond to that. I know there's a tremendous amount going on with economic development, but thank you for not going down that road too far. Yeah, Jim, you're right. I mean, you know, we've come through some hard economic times. This board is responsible for what happens. This board is responsible for directing the town manager. We feel we've been doing that, but perhaps not communicating well enough about it. Anyway, other board members that would like to speak tonight, and if not, I will have to wait 10 seconds. That's what my Zoom coaches tell me. So if I don't see any hands, I'm going to maybe ask for a motion to close this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, before you, just
Or
as
close,
you said that,
close the hearing, excuse me.
just as you did, yeah. Sarah raised her hand. So Sarah, before we get a second on that, I'm going to allow you to have a chance to weigh in if you like.
I was just going to either make that motion or now I can second it.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. So the motion has been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. So this public hearing is adjourned. I apologize for the fact that it's not on television the way people would have liked, but it will be next Monday, February 8th. We'll start the meeting at 6 o'clock. We'll move to this agenda item at approximately 6:10 in the evening. And we welcome your comments at that point. Okay. Thank you, Cat TV, for getting this on Facebook Live. And thank you, board members, for showing up and the hasty retreat from the vigil. I appreciate the fact that you were able to get both those things in tonight. All right. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye.